Now, when it comes to Kendrick Lamar and what is happening on the West Coast right now, well, prepare yourself because the entire map of hip-hop is being redrawn in real time, and most people watching are not even close to understanding what they are actually witnessing. Kendrick Lamar just had a song slip through the cracks, a record that was never supposed to leave that vault. And within hours, Interscope Records was striking it down across every platform, every blog, every re-upload, every database that even whispered the title. And while that fire was still burning, JID, the same JID who just spent the last month publicly cracking on J. Cole and torching his entire Dreamville situation in deleted tweets the whole internet screenshotted, suddenly shows up on YG's brand new single Insecure right next to Ab-Soul, sitting in the middle of the West Coast like he has been there his whole career. Two enormous stories, one West Coast movement, one quiet king pulling the strings from a chair nobody can see, and a release date conversation that is about to get extremely loud, extremely fast. So buckle in, because we are about to break down every single piece of this, what it really means, who is really behind it, and why the rest of rap should be terrified. And listen, before we go a single sentence further into this, I already know the stans are going to be in the comments crying because none of this fits the cute little narrative they have been spoon-fed for the last 12 months. So do me one small favor. Leave a like, subscribe, and hype up this video, because every time we break down what is actually happening on the West Coast, instead of repeating the manufactured talking points the loser camp keeps pushing, the algorithm tries to bury it. And honestly, I need that support more on this one than I have needed it in a long time, because the second this video starts gaining traction, you already know whose stans are going to flood the comments pretending Kendrick Lamar leaks his own songs like their guy does. So hype it up, smash that like, and let's get into the truth of what is really going on. Now let me set the table for everybody, because the context here is what makes all of this so massive. We are sitting in a moment where Kendrick Lamar is, by every measurable metric, the most powerful artist in the genre. GNX is still echoing across the culture more than a year after release, not like us is still attached to him like a permanent crown. The Super Bowl moment is still the cultural reference point everyone else gets compared to. And somehow, on top of all of that, he has been quietly working in the background like nothing ever stopped. Meanwhile, across the country, JID has been suffocating inside the Dreamville machine for years, watching his obvious generational gift get treated like a side project while the label boss, Jermaine Cole, found every possible way to not put him on the actual horizon his talent deserved. And the West Coast, which used to be fragmented and disconnected, is suddenly tightening up under a single banner. YG, Ab-Soul, J-Rock, Ray Vaughn, Top Dog Entertainment, pgLang, all moving in coordinated formation. So when a Kendrick Lamar song leaks, when JID shows up on a West Coast single, when Punch starts publicly venting about leaks ruining great ideas, this is not three small stories. This is one enormous story. And the question we have to answer tonight is simple. What exactly is being built right now? And why does it look like everyone outside the circle is about to get left behind? Let's start with the surface, because the evidence here is already overwhelming before we even get to the deeper layers. The leaked Kendrick Lamar record that started circulating online over the last several days began life looking like a classic GNX throwaway, the kind of session left over that lives in the vault forever and never sees daylight. But the moment it hit the internet, something very interesting happened, something that completely separates this from the pathetic leak game we have all watched the loser camp play for years. Interscope Records, Kendrick Lamar's label, started hammering takedown notices on every single platform that hosted, reposted, or even mentioned the track. YouTube re-uploads, gone. SoundCloud rips, gone. The blog mirrors, the Telegram channels, the lyric databases that started populating with the song's metadata. All of them getting struck. And anybody who actually understands the leak ecosystem already knows what this signals, because compare it to what Drake. Yes, the same Aubrey Drake Graham. The same guy who sued over a rap beef and is somehow still talking crazy. What Drake does when one of his throwaways shows up online. His leaks stay up. They live on the internet forever because they were pushed by the source. Nobody is filing strikes. Nobody is moving. It is a test balloon dressed up as an accident, and his stans eat it every time. Kendrick's record is the exact opposite. It is being scrubbed with the kind of urgency that tells you something real was supposed to happen with that song, and that the people on the other side of the screen are genuinely angry it got out. And the pattern here is not new, which is the part most of the reaction commentary is completely missing. We literally watched the same dynamic play out last year when Chains and Whips, the Clips track, surfaced online before its release with metadata that already had Kendrick Lamar's name attached to it even before the public knew he was on the record. That song was also being chased down by the label apparatus, while databases quietly confirmed what was sitting under the hood. Same fingerprint. Same takedown energy. Same stakes. So when we see this current leak getting hit with the exact same kind of label response, the absolute floor of what we can conclude, the lowest possible inference, the most conservative reading, is that this song is significantly more than a throwaway. This is not a vault scrap. This is a record that was on a runway somewhere, attached to a plan, attached to a release, attached to a strategy. And somebody, somewhere, fumbled it out of the building. And, oh, do I have so much more for you? Because the next piece of this is where the stands are really going to lose their minds. You thought the takedowns were the story? You thought this was just a leak news cycle? No. Sit down. Because the reaction from inside the TD building is what actually cracks this whole thing wide open. And once you hear it, the entire West Coast picture snaps into focus. Because the person who came out and said something publicly was none other than Punch, Terrence Punch Henderson, the TD president, the man Kendrick himself has called the Phil Jackson of his early career, the coach, the architect, the guy who has been guiding that label since the very beginning. And Punch did not subtweet, he did not cryptically post, he did not throw a vague emoji into the void. He came out directly and said leaks destroy every single great idea. That is a quote that should stop you cold. Because Punch is not the kind of executive who reacts to nothing. Punch is famously measured, famously patient, famously the voice that keeps the TD camp from chasing every internet wave. So when Punch is the one publicly breaking his composure to say leaks destroy great ideas, what he is really telling you is that the song that just leaked was not a great idea in concept. It was a great idea in progress. There is a difference. You do not get this emotional over a throwaway. You do not break protocol over a vault scrap. The only reason a man like Punch reacts like this is because something that was being built, something with a real plan attached to it, just got compromised. And the way he framed it tells you the leak did not come from Kendrick, did not come from pgLang, did not come from anyone in that inner circle who actually controls the narrative. Somebody else had hands on this record, and that somebody made either a mistake or a move. And in an industry as full of deranged losers as this one, both options are completely on the table. Now let me ask the real question, the one I think is being missed in every single reaction video floating around right now. If Kendrick did not leak this, and pgLang did not leak this, and the inner circle is publicly angry it leaked, then whose project was this song actually attached to in the first place? Because that question changes everything. And the way the chess pieces are sitting on this board, I do not think for 1 second that this record was earmarked for Kendrick Lamar's next solo album. I think Kendrick has opened the GNX vault, and I think he is feeding it to the rest of the roster. I think this song was being lined up as a lead single, an album cut, or a major moment for J-Rock's next project, or Ray Vaughn's upcoming rollout, or, and this is the one I want you to really sit with, the long-rumored TD compilation album, celebrating the label's 20th anniversary. The one Punch and Top Dog have been hinting at for years now. We are technically past the actual 20th anniversary mark, but everyone in that building has been signaling that a label-wide showcase project is still very much alive. And the timing of this, the leak, the takedown, the public anger from Punch, the proximity to every other West Coast move happening right now, it all lines up. Because if this were just a solo Kendrick track sitting in his personal hard drive, it would not have leaked. Kendrick Lamar's personal vault is one of the most secure vaults in modern hip-hop. The only way a record like this slips is if it had moved beyond him, into the hands of producers, collaborators, mixing engineers, label staff working on someone else's rollout. The leak itself is the evidence that this was a TD project, not a Kendrick solo move. And once you accept that, the entire picture of what the West Coast is actually building starts to come together. Now here is where we need to shift gears completely, because what I am about to break down is not music industry small talk. This is the structural business level reality of what is happening on the West Coast right now, and I promise you, you are not going to hear this analysis from the basic reaction crowd. The West Coast under Kendrick Lamar's unofficial executive coaching is doing something that has not been done at this scale since the original Death Row era. They are consolidating the entire region into a single coordinated artistic movement, and they're doing it through alliances, features, label cross-pollination, and shared creative ecosystems instead of through the old-school label warfare model. YG, who is dropping the Gentleman's Club on June 19th, just put out Insecure featuring JID and Ab-Soul. And YG himself has openly talked about playing the album for Kendrick and receiving direct creative guidance from him. YG has told the story publicly. Kendrick told him point blank to never rush an album just to get out of a deal, advice that completely reframed how YG approached this entire project. That is not a casual studio visit. That is executive-level mentorship, and it is happening across the entire West Coast roster. Ab-Soul is moving with new purpose. J-Rock is being positioned for his next chapter. Ray Vaughn is getting put on through TD Infrastructure. And every single one of these moves traces back to one quiet architect operating from behind the curtain. And this is the part the industry does not want to admit out loud, because it completely reorders the power map of modern hip-hop. The traditional model, one major label, one mega artist, surrounded by manufactured radio singles and a publicity machine engineered to suppress competition. That model is being outflanked in real time by a regional creative alliance that is generating its own gravity. Kendrick Lamar does not need to release a solo album in 2026 to dominate the year. He can dominate the year by executive producing without credit, by guiding YG's rollout, by feeding vault material to TD artists, by anchoring the pop-out energy that brought Watts and Compton and Inglewood and Long Beach into a single unified front. This is the difference between an artist and a movement. Drake builds a marketing campaign. Kendrick builds an ecosystem. One leaks his own songs, hoping the algorithm rewards him. The other has his label hunting down leaked records, because the records were actually attached to a plan. The contrast is not subtle. It is the entire story of where the genre is going. And now we get to the truth bomb, the piece that I think is going to make a lot of people in the comments very uncomfortable. JID. The same JID who is reportedly fed up with the Dreamville situation. The same JID who tweeted and deleted what everybody read as a direct shot at J. Cole's bars about him. The same JID who watched himself get left off the fall off and watched his career stall while a generational talent went criminally underused. That JID just walked into the West Coast and planted his flag. And I do not think this is a feature. I do not think Insecure is a one-off collab. I think what we are watching in real time is an audition. JID is auditioning for a new creative home, a new crew, a new infrastructure, a label situation that will actually treat him like the superstar his talent demands. He has reportedly admitted privately that he regrets being held back. His close friend Joey has publicly hinted at how upset JID has been with the way he has been handled. And the deleted tweets about Cole's bars were not random. They were the surface tremor of years of frustration that finally broke through the dam. And now look where he lands. Not on a Dreamville track. Not on a Cole cosign. On a West Coast record with Absol on YG's album. In the orbit of the most powerful artist in the genre. That is not a coincidence. That is a man searching for a new voice and a new room. And finding it among the only people in rap right now who are actually building something instead of protecting something. And here's what nobody is saying out loud. JID and Kendrick were both at the Clips Chains and Whips moment in Los Angeles last summer. They were in the same room. They were in the same building. And if Pusha T or Malice made an introduction, if there was even a 5-minute conversation backstage, that conversation is going to echo across the next 2 years of hip-hop. Because JID has publicly admired Kendrick for years, he never sided with Cole during the beef. He stayed quiet at exactly the moments the rest of Dreamville was forced to perform loyalty. And he has consistently signaled, through what he says and through what he refuses to say, exactly which side of the genre he actually respects. So when I look at JID showing up on Insecure, I do not see a feature. I see the first chapter of a defection that the industry has been quietly expecting for over a year. And this is where the hero clarity comes in. Because at the center of all of this is one man who has not posted, has not bragged, has not held a press conference, has not begged for attention, has not leaked his own songs, has not sued anybody, has not embarrassed himself on a podcast circuit, has not done any of the desperate moves that define the loser camp. Kendrick Lamar is just doing the work. He is in the studio with YG. He is coaching the TD roster. He is opening the vault for his label family. He is anchoring the West Coast. He is letting the music speak. He is letting the moves speak. He is unfazed, rising, and still winning without even being outside. One person makes music that requires manufactured streams and a permanent grievance tour to stay relevant. The other person makes music that pulls an entire region together and rewrites the structure of the genre while barely lifting a finger. Does everybody understand how lopsided this actually is? Does everybody understand that we are watching the most disciplined artist of the modern era simply outwork, outthink, and outmaneuver the entire machine that was built to drown him? This is what integrity looks like when it has been compounding for 15 years. This is what the long game pays out as. And anybody who told you Kendrick was finished after GNX, anybody who told you the moment was over, anybody who told you the West Coast was just having a year, you owe yourself an honest look at what is being constructed right in front of you. Because this is only the beginning. And listen, I want everybody to understand exactly what is coming, because the leak, the YG album, the JID move, the punch reaction, the Absol resurgence, the J-Rock and Ray Vaughn rollouts that are sitting on the runway. These are not separate stories. They are the opening movements of a coordinated West Coast offensive that is going to define the back half of 2026 and very possibly all of 2027. The Gentleman's Club drops on June 19th. The TD compilation conversation is heating up again. The leaked record is going to find its proper home on somebody's project before the year ends. I will bet anything on that. JID is going to keep showing up in West Coast rooms until he is functionally part of the family, whether the paperwork is ever made official or not. And Kendrick Lamar, the man who said almost nothing publicly through any of this, is going to continue building from the shadows until he decides it is time to step forward. And when he does, every single artist still trying to play the old game is going to look exactly as outdated as they actually are. So stay close, stay subscribed, stay locked in, because I'm going to break down every single move as it happens. And if you made it all the way to this point in the video, thank you. You are absolutely amazing. And please do me a real favor and hit that like, subscribe, and hype this video up before you click away, because the algorithm needs to know which conversations the real heads are actually having. And if you want a full backstory on everything that built up to this exact moment, the earlier Kendrick Lamar leaks before this one, the deeper punch statements, the hidden signals from the GNX rollout that already told us this was coming, the West Coast pieces I called months ago that are landing right now in real time, the suggested video on your screen breaks all of it down piece by piece, and you are not going to want to miss this one. So go ahead, click it, and let's keep building. The West Coast is just getting started, and so are we.